everybody, welcome to NPS Focus. Hope you guys are having a good evening. That was a replay you just saw of DNS Live on purpose. We'll get back to photography next week. We're going to be talking about cryptozoology again this week. And you can see me and Candy, and you can probably hear Jen.
Or one of my kids.
So how's everybody doing tonight?
I'm well. Things here in Colorado are green and beautiful and
pretty.
Yeah, pretty.
It's okay here, but it's really rainy.
Yeah, I heard that thunder a while ago. That's kind of scary when you can hear it through the computer.
Yeah, it was pretty bad, but it's already passed.
Oh, well, that's good.
Thank God.
So, you know, we've been doing photography. The photography team's been taking care of the cryptid topic this week. And I know Jen and I covered one of mine and yours favorites this week. And then I think we got a lot of really good feedback on Loch Ness, on Nessie, on that picture that we posted that everybody's so familiar with. And then we did, I'm going by memory here, we had April take care of, shoot, I can't remember which one she did. And then David did one today.
I'm sorry to interrupt, David. Hey, Jim, if you've got the show on, could you mute it for us?
Jen, you still there?
Yes, I am.
Thanks.
Okay. Just making sure. So we've taken care of, 4 this week because we got started late. Tomorrow we're going to be doing the Florida Skunk Ape. I got to get that one ready. And then Saturday we're going to do, is it the Montauk? Is that how you pronounce that? The monster?
Montauk.
Montauk. It's such a funny spelling. So anyway, we've got those two coming up. So, Jen and I, our favorite one was Mothman this week. And that was kind of interesting because I always thought Mothman was something completely different than what I had learned in doing the research. I always thought he was something that came after the fact. And come to find out, he's kind of an omen before the fact. And doesn't really mean, I mean, you think about Mothman and Jeepers Creepers, which I hate that movie because it's just creepy. Just the creature's just creepy. And so you always kind of tie it with that. And then, you know, you have the Mothman Prophecy is the movie that was actually written. So it's kind of funny to see some of these things that people view as horror or entertainment. And, you know, we use it and look at it as cryptozoology. So that was kind of interesting for me this week when the Mothman one. Loch Ness was pretty cool from the photography aspect and being able to debunk it. Because who would have thought about a toy submarine with a wooden head on top of it? So now we got to watch our members and see what they're going to be trying to put out there. It's not going to be the fake apps anymore or Photoshop. It's going to be somebody trying to toy with us, literally, with a picture.
Oh, my God.
Can you imagine? So, Jen,
unique.
What's going on with the cryptids?
Well, I have a lot of knowledge on the Mothman. I can tell you a little bit about that. I actually never knew about the Mothman from the movie. I actually looked it up on my own, and when I did, I started to discover Chief Cornstalk, and I don't know if you've heard of this, but back in 1777, this Indian chief, he's in the Ohio side of the river, of where the Silver Bridge was, and he's with his son, and what happens is he's in there with these troops, and they had betrayed him, and in his dying breath, he says, "I'm going to curse this land." He threatens them with what is known as the Thunderbird. And if you see the depictions from Chief Cornstalk's tribe, it kind of looks like the Mothman. So it's pretty interesting to learn this end of it, like about the chief and the Indian curse, and then we learn about the other information, such as during the Silver Bridge sightings, where they're seeing what appears to be this winged creature. We have these guys walking around, these unexplainable guys in government-like suits, and you know they seem foreign, but they seem a little stranger than foreign, and there's a lot of witnesses to this. So I've always had a lot of interest into this because there's so many different angles to the story.
Well, what I thought was interesting, so the picture that everybody probably recognizes of Mothman more than any is the picture of the alleged Mothman on top of the bridge.
Right.
Read the story about the original bridge. The two aren't the same. So the second one's a completely different location. But what I couldn't find in my research, I could find where it was taken, but I couldn't find any stories surrounding that bridge and if anything happened. So did you, in your research and stuff, did you find out anything about that?
I can't honestly say that I did. I know what you're talking about, but I haven't really found much on it. I'm still looking.
Yeah, it was real interesting. And I even had to dig to find the location of that bridge. I believe it was the Russell Bridge. I'm trying to bring it all up right now in front of me. I think it was called the Russell Bridge. And I did some research to see, was there any damage done to it? Was there anything that tied to it? What was the big thing about seeing it? And that's why I think a lot of people thought that it was actually, like a stunt man or somebody dressed up in one of those winged suits, because there was nothing else more to it.
Yeah, that's very true. And if you look at the pictures like you were showing the other day and the guy in the suit, it does kind of look like that.
Yep. Well, and then people were saying, so guys, we're talking about this from the crypto aspect and kind of looking at it from it being one of the areas within the paranormal. But we also have to look at it from a debunking standpoint. So what we're talking about, if y'all didn't see it on the NPS page, I shared a picture of a man that's wearing a black wingsuit, and the picture next to it shows two more guys kind of jumping. Well, when you're looking at stuff, you have to debunk it and think about everything, not just in pictures, but really with everything, even the Loch Ness Monster example. So in this example, I don't even think we knew how tall this bridge was where this gentleman, or this Mothman, this creature is being seen at the top of the bridge. So we don't really know how tall that is. But I read that people were kind of questioning the wingsuit, saying that it could only go from a minimum height, I think, of 300 feet. You would have to be higher than that, I think, to be able to deploy your suit, and not lower. And they thought the bridge was too low for the wingsuit. So that was kind of a theory they were ruling out, and then looking at it being a horned owl. But horned owls, they're good size, but they're not that big.
Yeah, I don't think a horned owl gets that big.
No. And I'm trying to see, I've got it pulled up in front of me, I'm trying to see the other theory that was kind of interesting around it that they thought it was.
Sherry, you can look up, why don't you look up neoprene glider suits for base jumping? That should give you some minimal metrics of what is needed for those jumps, because if I'm not mistaken, they had a base jumper do a parachute jump, like off of a 150-foot building, if I'm not mistaken, in California somewhere. It was Patrick Swayze's brother. Did he die or something like that? But, extreme sports, they're getting crazy.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Let's see here. Height ratio. Yeah, it's kind of interesting to look at the different things. We always think paranormal, we think it's, ghosts, we think it's Bigfoot, or we think it's something like that, but we don't actually look for an explanation behind it. Oh yeah, somebody wearing a monkey suit, somebody with a head on top of a submarine, that type of thing. I'm looking to see here on the glider suit.
I'm not really sure on the glider suit. That's a good question, though.
Yeah, that's what
Well, I'm pretty sure they're I think they're a neoprene Kevlar mixture.
All right, let's see here. It's called a wingsuit, add surface area, blah, blah, blah. They were first developed in the late 1990s. They're also referred to as Birdman suits. The wingsuit flight normally ends in a parachute opening. So a wingsuit can safely be flown from any point that provides sufficient altitude for flight and parachute deployment. I'm looking for an actual footage here. Now, they're talking about a glide ratio of 2.5 to 1. Okay, 2.5 to 1. This means that for every meter dropped, 2.5 meters are gained moving forward. This ratio can be referred to as the flight efficiency. It's saying that a typical skydiver's terminal velocity in belly to earth orientation ranges from 180 to 225 kilometers per hour, or 110 to 140 miles per hour. A wingsuit can reduce these speeds dramatically. A vertical instantaneous velocity of 40 kilometers per hour, which is 25 miles per hour, has been reported. However, the speed at which the body advances forward through the air is still much higher. I'm still not seeing height change. So it's very possible. But you know what? Even if somebody did get up there in a wingsuit on that bridge, how did they get up there? Why wasn't there more footage surrounding it? And why were they arrested?
I know, right? How would you just get up there and do that?
No, seriously. Seriously, somebody's up there. Who the hell's going to go up after him?
Right?
You go
I'm
on.
not.
Right, they'll come down one way or another. What goes up must come down.
Exactly.
It's bizarre, but you know what? Even the horned owl, I thought, maybe that could be a horned owl. And then I went back and looked at the picture and started looking at the perspective and started thinking in my head about Jen and her pad, and her making her circles and her lines and stuff, you know what I'm talking about? And I was like, no, that's not going to work. That just, nope, it's not big enough for that.
Right.
So it's very interesting. Like I said, the only thing I could come up with is that the picture, which has a date stamp on it, was November 13th, 2003. And apparently this was the Ironton-Russell Bridge off of Riverside Drive in Russell. And I didn't even find a state. So let me see if we can find something more on that.
And here's something else we need to take into consideration. All those bridges have to have maintenance. So can we disclude that it wasn't scheduled maintenance? Yeah, that it wasn't a city worker or somebody hired to do that sort of stuff, or an inspector. So, I mean, there's so many...
Interesting. Guess where that bridge is located?
Where? Vermont?
No, it is the first highway bridge along the Ohio River between Parkersburg, West Virginia, and Cincinnati, Ohio.
So it's the bridge that was in question in that movie?
So the Silver Bridge was in Point Pleasant, West Virginia.
Right.
So isn't that interesting? It's both of these bridges are in West Virginia.
It's very interesting to me.
Yeah. Now, Jen, had you seen any more sightings outside of West Virginia of Mothman?
I've seen them from 19th century, and I can't find the link off the top. I know there was one in Canada, there was one in France, and I can't find the link now to save I looked and looked for hours here, because like I said, I've read this stuff for years, so. But I remember these, and they were before the turn of the 20th century, and the one in Canada, if I'm going by memory here, and if I'm wrong, I'm sorry, was in the late almost turn of the 20th century, and what happened was supposedly these people had seen what appeared to be the Mothman, and about a week later there was this huge train incident.
Yes, see, now I saw a lot of the mentioned those in the article. They talked about here, the first sighting was 1966, which we talked about in the article. But then they also attributed sightings of Mothman before the Mexico City earthquake in 1985, the Chernobyl nuclear reactor disaster in 1986. Allegedly, he was seen before the Twin Towers destruction in 2001. And I'm probably going to slaughter this name, but right before the Tbilisi earthquake in 2002, which damaged the Church of St. David, and there was a little bit of a story around that. And then, months after that earthquake, a Chinese MD-82 crashed. And then there were several other incidents around the world. On this one website, it was forever, all these incidents. But I never could really find pictures like what we have of the one bridge in Russell. So it's very interesting how there's been sightings, but there's been no pictures to support it or anything else.
Yeah, I've not found any other pictures either.
Now, Jen, I have a question for you.
Sure.
With the Mothman and cryptozoology, what do you find most compelling or the strongest points of evidence in regards to this particular creature?
To be honest with you, I want to say it's the number of people, the people that they claim to be honest, church-going sort of people that reported seeing it. And to me, that was the most interesting, because it seems all these people and all these different dates throughout this whole phenomenon have seen this creature, and it's not just, these, how do I explain it? It's not just, sporadic. It's right there, and it coincides with one another. So to me, that was the most interesting.
Okay, and what do you find the most questionable about it?
The most questionable, I think, were the men in suits. That part of it really didn't make sense to me, and I think that's somebody's theory and within standing that it might have been aliens or something like that.
Yeah, you know what? I think I remember seeing something where they talked about how Men in Black came to be was from that whole thing. Let me see if I can find that again. Because I do remember seeing that. I didn't touch on it because I wanted to focus more on Mothman, but I do remember seeing it. And it's interesting how everything keeps getting tied back to the government, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Telling you.
It just doesn't, to me, it just doesn't make sense why they would throw that in there. It doesn't add up to everything else. That's just me.
Yeah, it doesn't add up at all. Let's see. It says it's on this page, because there was something about Men in Black coming up after there was a sighting.
Right, and they were there for quite a while. Their presence stayed there for quite some time.
Mm-hmm. Let's see.
But after the bridge collapses, if our memory precedes me here, they leave and nobody's ever seen them again. But the people who claim to have seen them, they claim that they were like strange, not even foreign, but almost otherworldly.
Well, now,
That too.
there's one thing we need to keep in mind. After any kind of bridge or waterway issue, the Army Corps of Engineers is required to come in, because that's basically who mitigates all, the waterways and whatnot in the United States. If there's a bridge failure, I'm positive that there'd be government presence. And so so we have to take that into consideration also, that they were there for the stability of the structure and that type of stuff. So, and I know they're cute. There's so many pieces of this to take in, to try to put together. I don't understand why the government, other than the fact that the bridge would be involved at all. But you've got first-hand accounts from law enforcement. Besides, you said very spiritual and dedicated religious people. It's kind of interesting. And so.
Well, so I got this where it says, it talks about UFO witnesses and a local Point Pleasant reporter began to receive visits and phone calls from strange men in black. These men would pretend to be Air Force officers, police officers, salesmen, reporters, and ufologists to gain entry into witnesses' homes. They would obtain information about the witness and their family, then warn against telling anyone about seeing the UFOs. These men in black were all described as having dark skin, pointy features, possibly Oriental. They would wear clothing that did not fit properly and was not appropriate for the weather. They are described as wearing shoes with very thick soles. They speak in a very sing-song manner, almost mechanical, and in most cases have trouble speaking clearly. The majority of the people who have encountered these mysterious men all reported that they drove older black cars with blacked-out windows. The vehicle would look brand new, even though they were several years old. And it's funny how it talks about this happened around Point Pleasant, because that's where the first sighting of Mothman was.
Yeah, see what I mean? It's very strange how they're there. I think it was before, right? You're saying, Sherry, it's before and during?
It's just saying that they're asking about UFOs. So, and I don't remember seeing anything about UFOs being around. Well, no, I take that back. It says on here, even before the first sighting of Mothman, the sky of the Ohio River Valley had strange things flying around it. Every night, these colored lights in the sky would invade the area. These UFOs seemed to follow the same flight pattern night after night. So that's probably why it was going on, which makes sense because the gentleman that actually wrote the book, The Mothman Prophecies, John Keel, he was actually in that area in Point Pleasant writing a book about UFOs for, oh crap, I can't remember who it was. But that's what he was there for, and it just happened to be around the same time that Mothman was seen. So So that's kind of interesting as well.
Yeah, it is. It's all strange how it all ties in. There's so many different aspects to the whole story.
Yeah, it's just really interesting. And it's kind of cool because with these, you kind of have a little more meat to be able to go in and tie to, like, actual witness reports and that type of thing. Where, on my end, looking at ghosts and stuff, it's like we don't really have anything physical and concrete to tie it into. So it's kind of why I think I enjoy crypto. And kind of, Candy, me, I was pushing for cryptids to get bigger and better all along. Because you get more meat to this area of the paranormal.
I also like to tie in with the Chief Cornstalk because it really makes you wonder.
Absolutely. And that's an excellent piece of information that I had never known before either. So, it's, the one thing about the cryptids is that there's always more information out there, and the variables when you take it to different continents with different cultures, the similarities that arise. I mean, it's pretty amazing stuff. And I believe personally, it's not stuff of myths. I believe that legends are born from truth. And that there has some basis of truth to it, So, and with all the different sightings all over the world, I don't doubt that there could be something afoot there. And especially with the government sticking their nose into it, that definitely makes me suspicious.
Well,
yeah, it makes me very suspicious.
Yeah. I mean, it's very, I don't know, I wish we could be a fly on the wall sometimes in certain areas, just to kind of know more about it. I mean, with the UFOs, we know from, the Egyptians, from other cultures, and people way before even modern days were already drawing pictures and talking about aliens and UFOs. So you've got too much documented stuff there to just dismiss it.
Right. Especially with, there's a lot to the cornstalk, like I said, and with the art, they uncovered this art from his tribe of the winged creature, which they were calling the Thunderbird, which makes sense if you know anything about, Indians and the Great Spirit. It's in their history, so finding something like that, I guess, would make sense, but in that area, it's kind of, uncanny.
Yeah. But, I think it's still, it's interesting stuff, and it's stuff that you can kind of sink your teeth into. It's not like looking at pictures of mist.
No.
You're reading people's accounts, and they're so similar that, it just has to make you say, there's definitely something there, you just don't know what.
Exactly.
And the fact that there are multiple eyewitness accounts. It's not just one person in a room who thinks that floating light is, Great Aunt Jenny.
Yeah. Well, and then, kind of like with the whole Mothman sighting, you had it happen over the course of a week.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And people from different walks of life. That part to me is paramount, because you don't have this one little block radius of neighbors and friends who saw the same thing. Yep. You had government officials, that type of stuff. So, like I said, the variables give it credibility to me.
My kid doesn't want to go to the other room.
Oh,
fair enough.
The fun of being a mom, I tell you.
Oh, yeah.
So other than Mothman, Jen, I know that was like your top one favorite one. Who would be your second one?
Oh, gosh, let me think. We all like Bigfoot.
Yeah.
He's interesting. I don't know a ton about Bigfoot. I know probably as much as anybody. I know in the Adirondacks here, actually, interestingly enough, there's a guy up here. He's very, very passionate about Bigfoot. Actually has a tour where he claims that you could actually trace him out. Now, I've never went on it myself, but I was just recently reading his blog, so it's pretty interesting to... But the Adirondacks is it's all natural up there. There's not a lot you know, a lot of houses or anything like that. So to find something like that in there would probably be plausible. Is it like Bigfoot? That's kind of hard for me to say. I can't confirm nor deny, but I guess, you know, that would be the area to look for something like that. It's a place where it's untainted by human growth, I guess, would be the best way to put it.
Yeah, that's interesting. And it's interesting how some of these sightings, especially like with Bigfoot, how they happen like out in the middle of nowhere. So I think that's what makes people doubt, was it truly a sighting? You know what I mean?
Well, I think another thing, too, with citing anything that's new or different, it's obviously we've not seen it, so it's not readily, you know, out in public. I think that when we do cross something, it's accidental, and they're not, you know, how some people will say, well, how could you not take a picture of it? Well, I don't know if you've ever been outside taking pictures like me and something happens to pass you that you are dying to catch with your camera and your phone is lagging. Yeah. You're not going to get its picture. So, you know, there are instances like this where maybe we don't have a camera or we have a screwed up cell phone or something. And I think these are the cases with a lot of different things we're starting to uncover, and now we have Google Earth. And, you know, if you've ever I've looked at the Titanic on the thing. So, you know, I think with things like this coming out, we'll be able to discover much more.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Well, I think there's one thing I think that people don't take into consideration. When you're out in the woods and there's an animal, a large animal near you, you know. You know,
and you run.
Oh, no, you don't run.
Well, I do.
I mean, it's not, if you're running, that means in my eyes that you weren't prepared. We always carry weapons when we go out in the woods. It's not a joke. We have bears, we have mountain lions, you know. They even reintroduced moose out here, and some poor hunter actually shot one on accident. But anyway, but when you're out there, I mean, it's a real come to Jesus about how actually small and spoiled creatures we are. You know, people go camping and they take their tents and this and this and that. Very few go out there and actually, you know, get right to the land. And I think that, you know, animals have a very distinct smell. When they get within, you know, an area, you can smell them. Elk, deer, bear, especially bear. We stink. To animals that, I mean, with their senses and their perception of, you know, sight and smell, we stick out like we're on fire. And so, you know, everyone's sitting here talking about how come we haven't found these creatures. Well, I mean, it's not like we go in, you know, quiet, soft, and you know, undisturbing of the area around us. We go in like bulls in china cabinets. You know, there's no sneaking around. And especially, you know, I'm the worst, because I'll never shut up when I'm out there with my husband. I chitter chatter all the time. I mean, he's throwing pine cones and all sorts of stuff at me. It's been horrible. My feelings were hurt. But anyway,
Hint.
I know, right? No. but I mean, we have to really take into consideration, you know, what we're going into. We're going out of our comfort zone and into their terrain. And I believe that there are things out there that avoid us. You know.
It's kind of like how we avoid things, so why wouldn't they avoid us, you know?
Yeah. You know, our contamination seeping into their home. And, you know, and God help us if we ever do find something, and when we do, what are we going to do to it? We're going to bag it, we're going to taxiderm it, we're going to dissect it, we're going to
destroy it, and who knows what else?
So who's to say truly that nobody's ever seen these creatures? There's just been no proof. You know, maybe somebody did see something once or has proof of something, and maybe it's bigger than themselves, and, you know, we're not all privy to it. You know?
It's kind of like what said. You know, you're not walking around. When you're walking around with your husband in the woods, are you, like, right there with your phone? You know?
No. Hell no. I'm saying that.
You're like, oh my God, did you see that? And then you're going to think, like 5 minutes later, I should have taken a picture of that.
Well, dude, I'm paranoid. I'm not going to run my battery out. What if he leaves me somewhere and I have to GPS my shit to get home? Hell, I'm not taking a picture of Bigfoot. I'm asking for fucking directions.
Screw that. I need to get home. Screw Bigfoot.
That's right.
I got to get home.
Oh, we went hiking. We have beautiful mountain ranges here, and we live next to Telluride, Colorado. Well, we were going to go hike the Lone Cone. You know, it was a pretty long drive up there, and I didn't have any cell service. Dude, we got out of the truck and went halfway up the mountain. I had total cell reception. My kids were blowing up my phone. I could not believe. My husband's sitting there looking at me like, I don't know. I had a lot of explaining to do with that, you know, but at least I felt better, because if he ditched me, I knew how to get back to the house.
Back, yeah. But see, the funny thing is, as you started coming down the mountain, you probably would have lost cell service again, and then you would have been running back up the mountain to kind of memorize the map, snapshot it, and go back down, you know?
No, there was a dirt road at that point. Road! So, Jen, now, being part of NPS, and, you know, you've been exposed to all these different things on the fringe science aspects. What part of the fringe science is your favorite?
We're calling her back right now, Candy.
Oh, hey.
We'll just keep going for our live TV.
There she is.
Jen.
You there, Jen?
Yes.
Okay, so I have a question for you. Since you've been with NPS and you've gotten all this exposure to the different facets of the fringe sciences that we work with, what's turned into your favorite part?
The favorite part, sheesh. I like all of it. I mean, I can't say I favor one over the other. I've always loved the paranormal, so it's always been something I've wanted to do. Right. Whether it's read about it, write about it, you know, it's just something I've really always had a passion for. Right. I can't say that I have a specific favorite.
Okay. She just likes it.
I really do. I love it.
I think we all do. And it's funny because coming into it, it's like, you know, I came into it from the ghost and spirit aspect, and I really didn't know much about all the other areas. And it's like, as I've been in NPS and we've been, or you know, kind of eyes open to the others and the posts and stuff, it's pretty interesting to see the stuff about the UFOs and stuff about cryptozoology. Everything that we deal with, it's just... everything kind of ties together, but it doesn't, because you still use the same approach and everything when you're investigating and trying to figure stuff. And so to me, it's still kind of like, okay, I got some new toys to play with over here. Let's go look at this. And doing Cryptid Week, you know, the photography team gets a week each month for each department. So it's like, it started off with UFOs and aliens. Oh my God, this is kind of cool. And then I'm watching it on History Channel, right? Then we went into Ancient Mysteries, and I'm like, man, this is awesome. And I'm watching it on History Channel, and I'm thinking, is the History Channel keeping up with NPS and what topic we're picking for the month? Because every time there's something that coincides. And I guarantee you, if it hadn't been ready, you know, getting ready for back to school this week, I probably would have been watching stuff on cryptozoology this week.
Right. Right.
Yeah, it does seem to line up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you,
because we are that cool. Because we are that cool. We are setting standards all over the place. We are debunking and closing threads and...
Don't reply on that damn closed thread. Oh my God, I was about ready to kill somebody today. Let's just get
all them closed threads. Come on now.
No.
I'm commenting on this, so I quit getting the notifications. Well, stop commenting on it. Please. What part of threads closed? It's going to be deleted. Do you not understand? That was driving me so crazy today.
You know, we're growing. My God, we are growing by leaps and bounds. And you know, that always changes the learning curve. You know, because it always kind of takes us back to the beginning. And so
yeah, it does.
We have to offer something for everybody: the seasoned investigators, the fans, the new people coming in. Yeah, and you know, and there's gonna be attrition. You know what I mean? And NPS isn't for everybody. It's not, and you know that's okay. You know, we're not a grief counseling site. That's dangerous for us and for you.
Yep.
We will question your orb because just of the simple metrics of particles per million in a cubic inch of air or a cubic inch of space. Paradiola, oh my God.
It's my favorite subject, but I mean, if people don't start realizing that it's really your brain making stuff up, they get it on some things, like when we did the post this week with the popcorn and the flowers and stuff, they get it then, but it's hard for them to take and apply it with looking at a picture.
Well, that's because they're emotionally attached to those submissions. It's very hard. It's very hard when people really believe it's somebody that they love and lost is trying to reach out to them, for them to be objective and say, you know, honey, it could be that. Yeah, sure, I don't want to take that spiritual experience away from you, but also you need to be objective and look at it from the other point. I mean, if people would just give it some balance, you know what I mean?
Right.
And that'd be good for all of us. So Jen, what is your very least favorite cryptid?
My least favorite cryptid is actually Nessie.
Oh, really?
Only because I think they faked it. Oh, that's the only reason why.
You know, every time I think about the Loch Ness Monster, I think about the movie Brave. Have you seen that? Pixar's Brave?
Oh, yes.
Oh, dude,
yes.
They kill me. I just think of these great big red-headed men in kilts, like, stuck in a tower.
That is so...
I know, having nothing better to do than say, hey, watch this, you know.
Oh, my God.
You know, Scotland, you know, if you look at Scotland's history, it is a very volatile, violent, brutal history. And,
yes.
You know, I don't think, it's not so far off base to think in that lake that, you know, there could have been some, like, form of plesiosaurus or something like that living at that point in time. You know?
True.
You know, I'm a diver. I see. I'm a scuba diver. I don't understand why they haven't. I know the visibility down in that lock is bad, but you know, sonar, radar, something, you know, anything.
I believe it. Yeah.
It's funny because there was sonar imaging. There was actually two, and I think somebody had talked about the first one. Actually, I think it was a former rep was talking about the first one and saying how it was, you know, algae. That's how algae grows. But then the next one that they got, which was more recent, it's been here in the last year or two, it's more of a arced line. And so they were saying there's just a little more credence to it. But there hasn't been anything to come up to explain it. So I think as technology advances, we're going to start getting more equipment that's going to be able to help us really fine-tune and look at all that kind of stuff. And, you know, if there is a Loch Ness, we're going to find it that way.
Exactly.
If it's even still alive, you know what I mean? I don't know.
We'll find the skeletal remains and we'll think it's some new shark, right? Named Megalodon or something.
Mega shark.
Are you mocking me?
Oh, I love that stuff.
All right. Well, you know, and back then when the first sightings were reported, you know, why would the eyewitness lie? I mean, he was ostracized and treated like he was a crazy person and stuck to his guns until he died.
Yeah.
You know, to me, again, that gives it some credence that no matter what he saw, whether it was, you know, environmental or what have you, he truly believed it. So, and that's, you know, with a lot of the sightings and a lot of the eyewitness accounts to these events, some of the people are so convinced what they saw was otherworldly or paranormal that no matter what kind of rationality you try to bring to the situation, it's not going to be sufficient. You know, everyone is desperate for something to be extraordinary, you know, and right now, very little is.
Yeah.
That is true.
You would think with our technology, you know, I keep leaning on technology, hoping that it catches up. Because we've made so many advances, there's no excuse not to mention it.
Honestly, I think technology is 95% of the problem. You know what I mean? Because, you know, the freaking phone apps, they can manipulate the hell out of it. You know, my 13-year-old daughter can get in there and she can do some stuff. And she gets on the NPS Facebook page, and she just tears people apart. She doesn't do it online, but she comes and shows me, and then she recreates their crap. And I'm sitting here, I just shake my head, you know. I'm going to tell everybody, my 13-year-old debunks most of you guys' stuff. Oh, yeah. And two, if you blocked all the admins, she gets on there and gets you. Just know that.
Oh, my God.
We're not going to tell you who she is, but we've had to use our little tool, our resource.
She's got 3 accounts.
That's awesome.
That's hilarious.
So, Jen, how are you liking being the assistant director?
I like it so far. I have no complaints. Absolutely
Right?
none.
Let's
I love
throw
it.
a curveball.
Well, that's right, because guess what? We're finding reps for you to work with on the
Yay.
website.
Did you not see that ad for new reps?
Yes, I saw it.
Yes, that's you, baby.
I was thinking, Jen needs something to do.
She
Yes.
needs hands over there.
She's giving me the finger, isn't she?
No, I'm not.
She's like, damn it.
No. I
Well,
don't mind.
I've been giving Ken a run for his money.
No,
Maybe I can teach him about kelpies.
About what?
The kelpies, the drowning the water spirit.
Oh, water baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's an Indian, that's an Indian legend.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. No, the Blackfoot talked about that a lot. So, but it was strange because, the water sources were precious to them. We basically lived on pemmican and a few other things, but they were always concerned that if you gazed into the water too long, the water babies were going to get you.
Yep. I've read that before.
Yeah.
Did that include the Fountain of Youth, too?
That was Ponce de Leon. Wasn't he looking for that?
Oh, but you see what I mean? If you're staring at the water too long, they're going to get you. It's too
All
long.
I know is if I stare at it too long, I'm going to have to pee. That's all there's to it.
Let's don't even go. Let's don't even go there.
I know, right?
No water logging.
No, 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 no.
Oh, there's a lot of, we've got some comments in the chat room. We have some wonderful members and reps who participate with us. It's terrific. And Hank Porter's talking about Gary Galka and how he's brought tech, further along in the fringe sciences. I think that if we had a way to, again, parallel the new equipment with, some of the old processes, that, we might get better results, more well-rounded results. And if people would know how to use their equipment, it would help us all.
Oh, you mean we have to understand how to use it? We can't be like the ghost hunters and...
I don't think it's as easy as the ghost hunters.
Dude, if I see somebody else's millimeter go off, knowing that, there's a sound crew, that somebody's got a walkie, somebody's got something.
Yep.
I don't want it. I don't want their false positives. I'd rather have an honest negative.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, me too. I would rather know the truth.
And poor Zach, what kind of emotional trauma is he going through that succubi following him? I'd be suing someone. You laugh! What sacrifices he's making for us?
Hey, come on, man. If he takes his shirt off, we're happy, right?
Oh, my
Well, I
God.
promise you somebody better have bail money because I'm going to stalking.
Don't get us started, because we can talk about that.
Shameful.
Ay, ay, ay.
Shirtless cookies.
No, as long as he didn't talk. You know what I mean? As long as he just stood there like a big stuffed idiot. Just like...
Just stand right there in that corner for a minute.
Yeah.
That's good for the women. Just stand right there. Shut up. Don't say a word. Don't move. Okay, turn this way a little bit. Pose that way. No.
Oh, my God.
No saying, oh my God. No saying dude. No saying man. No saying you got scratched. None of that.
Jesus, Sherry.
Oh, you told the Mothman did it. And then he would think, then it would be all sorts of other crybaby crap.
Look, I'm taking my toys and going home.
I know, right? Can you imagine if we were out there in suits, like the little glider suits?
Oh my gosh. Yeti, are you man in the chat room?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you see what I'm seeing?
Yeah.
Oh!
Yeah, that's fine.
You know,
The NPS,
No,
the NPS,
I'm going to defend Zach, saying a demon sexed him up. I've been called a lot of things, so it could have been any broad.
There you go.
Well, the NPS and PEN are not for everybody.
I know, right?
That is
You don't
right.
have to watch it. You don't have to report it. Just get off. Sorry. It's not for everybody.
Oh, what? Oh, Freddie, bye, honey.
Sorry. He was
You
upset.
always smile at your
About
haters.
ghosts. We were talking about cryptozoology. Not everybody understands. And here we go again. I'm telling you, Candy, we've got to make a graphic for it. Not everybody understands what's underneath the paranormal umbrella. And cryptozoology, because somebody tapped me on that this week with Loch Ness and Mothman, cryptozoology is paranormal. I would suggest people go look up the definition and do some research. We cover everything.
That's right. And it's pretty simple. Ladies and gentlemen, read the members packet. You don't know this, but whether you read it or not, you agree to it by implied consent. So maybe before you participate, you might want to know what you've agreed to.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
Because we adhere to those rules.
Right. And secondarily, it's our page. We run it the way we've decided to. I would never come to your home or to your page and tell you how to run your show because I'm your guest. And that deserves, a level of respect. And if I don't like what I see there, I don't go back. I say my thank yous and I exit gracefully. And I don't have to show you my ball and tell you I'm going home. Just get out.
Right? If you can't take it, it's just a matter of human decency, Think about everybody grows these, and pardon the phrase, but everybody grows these beer balls when they get on the internet and think they can tell somebody off. And I guarantee you wouldn't act that way to somebody in person. And I really hope you don't carry yourself that way in a professional environment. How embarrassing would that be? So it's kind of like, when you come online, let's have some respect for each other because any arguing is going to get nixed right in the butt. Either you're going to leave or the person that's instigating it's going to leave. So we really have to be respectful. It's not that difficult.
People don't
have manners than some of the people on the page.
People don't need to get on there and talk in rude, condescending tones to one another. If it's something you don't believe, simply stand aside. You don't need to come in and fight and argue. We do, if you object and it's a passionate discussion, please, by all means, express your feelings and your thoughts. But make sure that you understand that somebody has the right to reciprocate and respond, and we encourage that. There's no learning. There's no education if everybody agrees all the time. That would, everybody's talking about utopia.
No,
and unity
discussion when you don't agree.
Yeah, and unity does not mean we're going to roast marshmallows together and hold hands and sing Kumbaya. That crap ain't happening. No, what it means is we're working towards a common goal. We want to come with better techniques, better processes. And we don't have to talk to each other like we're King Kong behind the keyboard. You can be Batman behind that keyboard, but who are you in my face? Talk to me like you're sitting next to me. And
have a discussion.
Right, I agree with you. Actually, I call them keyboard cowboys. I know, right? You know what? I can count on one hand. I can count actually on just a couple of fingers how many times I've ever cussed on the NPS page. And,
I can count one. I don't remember the other one.
I was pissed. And Eric scolded me for it. I'm like, I will say what I want. I am 40-something years old.
Well, like he had room to talk.
Oh my god. I got called a para-whore. I got called a... this woman called me a para-whore. I'm like, and then I called her something else, and you know what? And I even used the technical term. It wasn't slang. I got a scolding, and I was like, are you kidding me? Whatever. Oh my god. I know, right? And it was anatomically correct, what I said.
Oh, my Lord. Oh.
My God. Hank, really? Right?
We're a little more civilized on the page now than what we used to be.
Oh, my God. You know what? We are so tame at 40,000 members than we were at 6,000. Holy crap.
Oh, my God.
Alex used to get on the page, on the reps page, and he's like, are you okay? And I'd be sitting here just like dry heaving. because I was gonna fly somewhere and choke. I mean, I was checking my credit card limit to see if I could get a plane ticket because somebody was going to get it.
Oh my God.
No.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Temper.
Oh yeah. Well, now the only crypto we ever talked about was Bigfoot.
Yeah, there was nothing more than that.
No, and I tried, and people were like, "What the hell are you talking about?" It's like, dude, it's the fringe sciences, and it killed me.
Normal.
People believe in ghosts and orbs, but they cannot wrap their head around a Yeti or the Mothman or, for the love of God, aliens.
Easy with the Yeti reference. Easy.
Eric, baby, I got your back here, man. I am telling you. I mean, I have a couple relatives, I swear to God. We're talking a bar of soap and, just throwing them out in the woods.
Oh,
Yeti.
they could probably very well be, yeah. Well, and it's so funny because we can believe shows like on Discovery Channel with Shark Week. We can believe about Megalodon, and we can believe all that stuff because, hey, that's more plausible. But you can't believe in like a Bigfoot or any other kind of creature.
I think it's because it's beyond the scope of visibility. I can only imagine what's on the ocean floor. Oh my God, it just intrigues me. And personally, I do believe that there are probably, hundreds of thousands of creatures we've never seen before down there.
Yeah. I agree with you with that one.
Yeah. So why can't there be things hiding in the woods from us? We're not that smart out there.
We haven't ventured into, so, I mean, why is that such a stretch?
Well, there are hundreds of mountain lions out where we live. Hundreds. And I am 43 years old, and I saw the very first one ever, like 3 months ago. And they've been here for how many years? So you're going to tell me that, a bipedal creature with assumably, significant intelligence. I believe they're smart. Animals are very smart. You don't think they could avoid us?
Yes, of course they could. I believe that.
Yeah, me too. And it's what's interesting is like how the Indians and how Chinese, the Mongolians, all sorts of people have very similar accounts of these creatures, and culturally they're very specific to the region. Like some believe they were white, near Siberia in that area, very cold. Down here, they're dark. Like I said, there's just so many possibilities. Probability, is small, but the possibility is not, nil.
Yeah. And even it's a small chance, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
It's a small chance of it.
And, it's possible that with the growth of, the human race and those types of things, that these creatures don't exist anymore, but that doesn't mean they never have.
Right.
And we bury our dead. Everybody's always asking, why aren't there bones? Oh my God. Well, I don't know if many people have seen what happens to a carcass in the woods, but it doesn't stay intact very long. I mean,
no, it doesn't.
Yeah, do we even know what we're really looking for? And that's part of the ecosystem, you know what I mean? The full cycle of life. So, I'm excited to see what people are going to come up with. You know what I mean? And newer, bigger, better ways. And everybody, it's not all digital. It's not all the new tech tools. Now, I've seen some tech tools that you could probably launch the space shuttle from. Seriously, if you can't use the damn thing, what good is it if it goes through great big batteries? I mean, who the hell's going to pack that up a mountain? Seriously.
Well, and who's going to be able to afford it every time it goes out?
Yeah, no joke.
I was so glad my husband decided he was just going to sit on the sidelines and he wanted scuba equipment instead, because that Paranology store, no, we spent ungodly money on our camera setup. You know what I mean? And and we aren't people who go out and investigate every week. We don't do that. We have one long-term location, and we take critical cases. We got really inundated here with families and children. A lot of TV hype, would bring people out there. We had some lady just drugged up, spun out of her mind, who thought she had paranormal bugs in her house. They were grasshoppers. And
oh my gosh.
Oh, dude, you want to talk about a level of mental illness that I had never seen? I mean, she had me scared to death of those grasshoppers by the time I was ready to leave. I was like,
oh my God.
I had had to go home, and I went home and had to decompress. It was overwhelming. And, you know, I think a lot of that fear-mongering is perpetuated by the TV shows, you know?
Yes.
So everybody wants to go in the woods with a flashlight on their head and go find Bigfoot, you know? And everybody with a digital audio recorder thinks they're, you know, an investigator or researcher. Oh, excuse me. No, they're not an investigator or researcher, they're a ghost hunter. Which I am not.
Yeti just reminded me, oh my God. You know what? We were just talking about that this weekend. Our team did a public investigation for a fundraiser for Kids last year. And we had a guy come out, I'm not going to say who it was, but we had a guy come out to speak. And I wish I had one of my pendulums up here to show you, but he walked out with his pendulum and was letting it swing and told us, yeah, there's 66 spirits here. And we're like, okay, how do you know? And he's just walking around dangling his pendulum and it's just swinging. And he's like, yes, and there's so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so. We were just like, okay, dude.
Drama queen.
Where did you learn how to use your pendulum, first off? And secondly, how do you get 66 out of it swinging? It was pretty bad. So, yeah, it's... He needs to grass.
One thing I find, probably the most offensive thing I encounter is that I'm gifted and you're not, and you couldn't understand.
Oh my God.
Seriously?
Oh, I hate that.
I know, and not only is it offensive and condescending, but it's presumptuous and it's counterproductive. And you know, whether anybody wants to hear it or not, NPS is science-based, folks, and we are trying to come to a crossroads where we can blend science and spirituality together to get somewhere forward, but, you know, kind of a show-me group. And I want to hear about your personal experiences, and I want to hear why you feel the way you do and believe the things you believe. Please be able to explain that to us, not just because I said so. You know, it's...
We're not, not going to answer to you like Mom, you know, where Mom told you to do something because I said so.
Well, and to assume that other people aren't gifted or that they're non-believers because we ask questions. Anybody with a child or ever had a child should know, how do kids learn? They ask questions. How do we learn from them? We see it from their perspective. That's the entire point, you know. And crypto, there are so many questions still to be asked because it's not like we're just, there's one facet of it. Oh my God, there are generations of claims. Absolutely.
On and on. And it's funny because now that we've got the cryptid department up and going, you know, it was like this week, hey Ted, who do you want me to cover? Well, I don't know, let me see. And it's kind of like, okay, that's kind of odd because when it started, we didn't have much, maybe Bigfoot, lockdown.
On that list?
Now it's we've got this long list. And so it's very fascinating.
It's wonderful. And you know what? And I couldn't be prouder of the crypto team. Ted and Jen and everybody else in there doing a fantastic job and bringing us stuff from all over the world. Yeah. Oh my God. And you know, spanning thousands of years. And that, I think, is the most important part of all of it, is that we're not just focusing on what, you know, people's claims are today, you know, that we're looking at everything in a broad spectrum. So, you know, NPS is growing in so many ways, and we're so much more than what people see on Facebook. So much more. We're your one-stop. Yeah, we're your one-stop paranormal shop. We really are.
Yeah, check out the website. Because, I mean, we've got, you know, we were talking about the list of cryptos. I mean, there's lists out there, guys, for you to check out. There's resources out there. There's sorts of stuff at the website. We're more than just a Facebook page. There's a lot of stuff added to the website. And I know, you know, I do my own job of trying to push people out there to look at it. So go check it out. I mean, the resources tab's got a lot of really cool stuff on it. Cryptozoology is going to have their list out there. The photography team's got their list out there. UFOs and Aliens got their list out there. Ancient Mysteries has their list. So, I mean, there's a lot there to be learned. You can go and really learn a lot. You could probably spend hours on the NPS website right now.
Absolutely.
Yes, as Hank says, we have Parahorse too. It's amazing.
Yeah, I know. I ain't got paid for this not once.
Oh, boy.
Oh, my gosh.
Maybe I should just find a new line of work. Great.
Hey, is your name Candy?
Oh, boy.
What?
You missed that one. Did you not hear me? You didn't hear me, Candy? Look at her. She's not going to answer me on it, because I know what that answer is.
Uh-huh.
Guys, I charge $3.50 for root beer.
Oh, my Lord.
Pathetic.
All right, we'll fight at 9 o'clock. Now, are we continuing crypto next week, or are we starting our new subject next week? Do you remember?
I think it's our new subject next week.
All right, so you guys got to tune in next week.
Oh, no. Crypto's one more week. I'm sorry.
We have one more week on crypto, and then we'll go on.
One more week, August. Yeah, sorry.
So, all right, Candy, I opened. You close.
All right, we'd like to thank everybody for coming and spending time with us today. Our sponsors, National Paranormal Society. Visit us on Facebook or on the website, www.national-paranormal-society.org. And you can come to the one-stop occult shop, www.blessedbe.cc. We got everything there you could need. We appreciate you guys coming out and spending time with us. Jen, you've been wonderful. Thank you so much.
You did.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me on.
Heck yeah.
All right, so let's go take our toys and go get on the NPS page.
Yeah.
Yay.
Mothman was something completely different than what I had learned in doing the research. I always thought he was something that came after the fact, and come to find out he's kind of an omen before the fact. And doesn't really mean, I mean, you think about Mothman and Jeepers Creepers, which I hate that movie because it's just creepy, just the creature's just creepy. And so you always kind of tie it with that. And then, you have the Mothman Prophecies, the movie that was actually written. So it's kind of funny to see some of these things that people view as horror or entertainment, and, we use it and look at it as cryptozoology. So that was kind of interesting for me this week when the Mothman went. Loch Ness was pretty cool from the photography aspect and being able to debunk it, because who would have thought about a toy submarine with a wooden head on top of it? So now we got to watch our members and see what they're going to be trying to put out there. It's not going to be the fake apps anymore, or Photoshop. It's going to be somebody trying to toy with us, literally, with a picture.
Oh, my God.
Can you imagine? So, Jen, what's
unique.
going on with the cryptids?
Well, I have a lot of knowledge on the Mothman. I can tell you a little bit about that. I actually never knew about the Mothman from the movie. I actually looked it up on my own, and when I did, I started to discover Chief Cornstalk, and I don't know if you've heard of this, but back in 1777, this Indian chief, he's in the Ohio side of the river, of where the Silver Bridge was, and he's with his son, and what happens is he's in there with these troops, and they had betrayed him, and in his dying breath, he says, "I'm going to curse this land." He threatens them with what is known as the Thunderbird. And if you see the depictions from Chief Cornstalk's tribe, it kind of looks like the Mothman. So it's pretty interesting to learn this end of it, like about the chief and the Indian curse, and then we learn about the other information, such as during the Silver Bridge sightings, where they're seeing what appears to be this winged creature. We have these guys walking around, these unexplainable guys, and
2.5 meters are gained moving forward. This ratio can be referred to as the flight efficiency. It's saying that a typical skydiver's terminal velocity in belly-to-earth orientation ranges from 180 to 225 kilometers per hour, or 110 to 140 miles per hour. A wingsuit can reduce these speeds dramatically. A vertical instantaneous velocity of 40 kilometers per hour, which is 25 miles per hour, has been reported. However, the speed at which the body advances forward through the air is still much higher. I'm still not seeing height change. So it's very possible. But you know what? Even if somebody did get up there in a wingsuit on that bridge, how did they get up there? Why wasn't there more footage surrounding it? And why were they arrested?
I know, right? How would you just get up there and do that?
No, seriously. Seriously, somebody's up there. Who the hell's going to go up after him?
Right?
You go
I'm
on.
not.
Well, right, they'll come down one way or another. What goes up must come down.
Exactly.
It's bizarre, but you know what? Even the horned owl, I thought, maybe that could be a horned owl. Then I went back and looked at the picture and started looking at the perspective and started thinking in my head about Jen and her pad, and her making her circles and her lines and stuff, you know what I'm talking about? And I was like, no, that's not going to work. That just, nope, it's not big enough for that.
Right.
So it's very interesting. Like I said, the only thing I could come up with is that the picture, which has a date stamp on it, was November 13th, 2003. And apparently, this was the Ironton-Russell Bridge off of Riverside Drive in Russell. And I didn't even find a state. So let me see if we can find something more on that.
And here's something else we need to take into consideration. All those bridges have to have maintenance. So can we disclude that it wasn't scheduled maintenance? Yeah, that it wasn't a city worker or somebody hired to do that sort of stuff, or an inspector. So, I mean, there's so many.
Interesting. Guess where that bridge is located?
Where? Vermont?
No, it is the first highway bridge along the Ohio River between Parkersburg, West Virginia, and Cincinnati, Ohio. Hey everybody, welcome to NPS Focus. Hope you guys are having a good evening. That was a replay you just saw of DNS Live on purpose. We'll get back to talk next week. We're going to be talking about cryptozoology again this week. And you can see me and Candy, and you can probably hear Jen.
Or one of my kids.
So how's everybody doing tonight?
I'm well. Things here in Colorado are green and beautiful and
Pretty.
yeah, pretty.
It's okay here, but it's really rainy.
Yeah, I heard that thunder a while ago. That's kind of scary when you can hear it through the computer.
Yeah, it was pretty bad, but it's already passed.
Oh, well, that's good.
Thank God.
So, we've been doing photography. The photography team's been taking care of the cryptid topic this week. And I know, Jen, I covered one of mine and yours favorites this week. And then I think we got a lot of really good feedback on Loch Ness, on Nessie, on that picture that we posted that everybody's so familiar with. And then we did, I'm going by memory here, we had April take care of, shoot, I can't remember which one she did. And then David did one today.
I'm sorry to interrupt, David. Hey, Jim, if you've got the show on, could you mute it for us?
Jen, you still there?
Yes, I am.
Thanks.
Okay. Just making sure. So we've taken care of, 4 this week because we got started late. Tomorrow we're going to be doing the Florida Skunk Ape. I got to get that one ready. And then Saturday we're going to do, is it the Montauk? Is that how you pronounce that? The monster?
Montauk?
Montauk. It's such a funky spelling. So anyway, we've got those two coming up. So, Jen and I, our favorite one was Mothman this week. And that was kind of interesting because I always thought you would have to be higher than that, I think, to be able to deploy your suit and not lower. And they thought the bridge was too low for the wingsuit. So that was kind of a theory they were ruling out and then looking at it being a horned owl. But horned owls, I mean, they're good size, but they're not that big.
Yeah, I don't think a horned owl gets that big.
No. And I'm trying to see, I've got it pulled up in front of me, I'm trying to see the other theory that was kind of interesting around it that they thought it was.
Sherry, you can look up, why don't you look up neoprene glider suits for base jumping? And that should give you some minimal metrics of what is needed for those jumps, because if I'm not mistaken, they had a base jumper do a parachute jump, like off of a 150-foot building, if I'm not mistaken, in California somewhere. It was Patrick Swayze's brother. Did he die or something like that? But, I mean, extreme sports, you know, they're getting crazy.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see here. Glide ratio. Yeah, it's kind of interesting to look at the different things. You know, we always think paranormal, we think it's, you know, ghosts, we think it's Bigfoot, or we think it's something like that, but we don't actually look for an explanation behind it. Oh, yeah, somebody wearing a monkey suit, you know, somebody with a head on top of a submarine, you know, that type of thing. I'm looking to see here on the glider suit.
I'm not really sure on the glider suit. That's a good question, though.
Yeah, that's what
Well, I'm pretty sure they're I think they're a neoprene Kevlar mixture.
All right, let's see here. It's called a wingsuit, add surface area, blah, blah, blah. They were first developed in the late 1990s. They're also referred to as Birdman suits. The wingsuit flight normally ends in a parachute opening, so a wingsuit can safely be flown from any point that provides sufficient altitude for flight and parachute deployment. I'm looking for an actual footage here. Now, they're talking about a glide ratio of 2.5 to 1. Okay, 2.5 to 1. This means that for every meter dropped,
government like suits, and you know, they seem foreign, but they seem a little stranger than foreign, and there's a lot of witnesses to this. So I've always had a lot of interest into this because there's so many different angles to the story.
Well, what I thought was interesting, so the picture that everybody probably recognizes of Mothman more than any is the picture of the alleged Mothman on top of the bridge.
Right.
Read the story about the original bridge. The two aren't the same. So the second one's a completely different location. But what I couldn't find in my research, I could find where it was taken, but I couldn't find any stories surrounding that bridge and if anything happened. So did you, in your research and stuff, did you find out anything about that?
I can't honestly say that I did. I know what you're talking about, but I haven't really found much on it. I'm still looking.
Yeah, it was real interesting, and I even had to dig to find the location of that bridge. I believe it was the Russell Bridge. I'm trying to bring it all up right now in front of me. I think it was called the Russell Bridge, and I did some research to see, okay, was there any damage done to it? Was there anything that tied to it? What was the big thing about seeing it? And that's why I think a lot of people thought that it was actually, like a stunt man or somebody dressed up in one of those winged suits, because there was nothing else more to it.
Yeah, that's very true. And if you look at the pictures like you were showing the other day and the guy in the suit, it does kind of look like that.
Yep. Well, and then people were saying, so guys, we're talking about this from the crypto aspect and kind of looking at it from it being one of the areas within the paranormal. But we also have to look at it from a debunking standpoint. So what we're talking about, if y'all didn't see it on the NPS page, I shared a picture of a man that's wearing a black wingsuit, and the picture next to it shows two more guys kind of jumping. Well, when you're looking at stuff, you have to debunk it and think about everything. Not just in pictures, but, really with everything, even the Loch Ness Monster example. So in this example, I don't even think we knew how tall this bridge was where this gentleman, or this Mothman, this creature is being seen at the top of the bridge. So we don't really know how tall that is. But I read that people were kind of questioning the wingsuit, saying that it could only go from a minimum height, I think, of 300 feet